another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast.
Oh, man, I'm doing great. It's good to see you guys. This is a great example, man. 2 years just like that. Congratulations on all the success you guys have been
Appreciate
having.
it. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. We have a special guest with us today, a legend. We got John Malott. How you doing, John?
Yo, man, I'm doing great. It's good to see you guys. We were just talking about it's been like 2 years. I'm like, man, where's the time gone?
Exactly. I mean, it was back in Omaha, Nebraska, for that event that we all spoke at and stuff. And I was like, how the hell did 2 years just like fly by like that?
Man, it's crazy. Again, I always say, if you live to be 100 years old, life is way too short. And this is a great example, man. 2 years just like that.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys are doing great, man. Congratulations on all the success you guys have been
Appreciate
having.
Appreciate it.
Popping up here and there. I'm like, all right, they're doing big things. I love it.
We're trying, man. It's just
Thanks,
consistency, sets and reps and just serving people, and I appreciate that. And just, trying to get these big eyebrows out there more.
I love it, man. Hey, now it just made me get mine done, so I'm catching on to the eyebrow game.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get like yours, man.
Yeah, no, yours are looking fresh, man. I see them.
Thank you. I'm doing all kinds of artificial stuff to make me look younger and younger every day.
Hey, the best medicines is just the working out, the eating right, man. And you just said you just got back from a workout, so I was like, man, you're looking jacked right now.
Yeah, I just left the gym a little bit ago. For me, man, it's the prerequisite for me to do well in business because, working out gives me the energy. Without energy, it's hard to do the things you got to do throughout the day. And then that leads to not making any money. And I like to make money. So I know it all begins with that workout and eating right and staying healthy. Plus I have 4 daughters, and I'm like, I have a responsibility to my kids, man. I want to be around, chase these boys off and make sure they know, they got to be a little intimidated by me when they come around. So.
Love it. All right, John, let's kick this off. We got some good stuff to talk about. So we like to open up our podcast a little bit differently, right? So we like giving the guests an option. Either we could do what's called rapid dynamic questions, or if you're feeling like you want to just play with a little bit of fire, have something just fun, there's this game we got here. It's called Never Have I Ever, right? So it's just 6 random questions that we don't know what's going to happen. So it's totally up to you.
Hey, let's do something I've never done before. And then when you say never have I ever, I started sweating. I'm like, let me think hard on this.
Yes.
I've done a lot of stuff.
Yes. Let's do it. Okay. So first one, let's go. Never have I ever sat in first class without buying a first class ticket.
Yeah, I have sat in first class many times without paying for the ticket.
Okay.
There we go. I have.
Okay, so that's all right, I get it. Now I'm getting the game.
I have or I haven't. Okay.
I have.
We'll go 6 questions. Second one right here.
I'm not that smart, so I'll get by the third question. I'll finally get the hang of this game.
All right, second one. Never have I ever been attracted to a significant other sibling. Oh man, that's a random one.
Yeah, I have.
So I have now. All right. Next one. Never have I ever been a little hesitant to reveal such sensitive info to this group.
I tell all the business, bro. So.
All right. Cool. All right. Next one. Never have I ever wondered for a second if my friend was a sociopath.
Oh, I know he is.
Two more. Never have I ever had an unfortunate nip slip in a picture.
I have, bro. I have.
Yeah. Oh man, for the YouTube viewers, you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. All right, last one. Never have I ever had a sneak peek into someone's Netflix queue and wish I hadn't.
I have.
Okay.
I've got Najla's family all on the Netflix account.
There we go.
Seeing stuff.
All right, cool.
Man.
We're done with that. Thanks for being a good sport, John. Appreciate that.
I love it.
All right, so let's kick this off. So you've created an empire across sectors from aviation to blockchain tech, real estate, pharmaceuticals, and nutrition. Where did all this drive come from, like at an early age? And I'm more like I'm really interested in like your upbringing. Like, were your parents about like just pushing you, or just going to school, or how was that?
Oh man, my parents weren't there. Number one, my mom left when I was little. My dad was a steel worker, you know, he went to the steel mill, then he went to the bar. Steel mill, bar, that was kind of his life. School was not a big emphasis in our house. School, church, none of that. It's like, it was kind of a free-for-all in our house. My brother and I, my dad eventually got hurt at A.L. Smith, the steel plant that he worked at, and he was in intensive care for a year. He almost died. When he got out, he was in a wheelchair that he laid flat on his stomach because the steel press crushed his back and he couldn't sit any longer, so he had to lay flat. So my brother and I ran wild in the streets. I dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. You know, my sister, she died of a heroin overdose at 21 years old. My younger brother, he's 2 years younger than me, but if you've seen him, he looks like he's 20 years older than me. He's been in and out of prison his whole life, drug addictions, the whole bit. So, yeah, there was nobody really pushing me except for when I had a drug problem. I had a heart attack from smoking cocaine at 17. I ended up in a drug rehab where a guy in there by the name of Dave, he was a former outlaw motorcycle gang member. He was the first guy that I related to, but he was helping kids turn their life around. And he convinced me, because I was like, man, what am I going to do? You know, this is how we live. I don't know anything. I'm not going to be an athlete. I didn't think I was going to be like a professional athlete. I certainly wasn't no brainiac. And he convinced me business. He said, look, man, I can teach anyone business skills, but I can't teach just anyone street smarts. He said, if you put those two together, you become dangerous. And I didn't believe it at first. I thought he was just saying that, you know, like my dad would say back in the day, you can be anything you want. And I knew my dad didn't believe it because he wasn't what he wanted to be. But the seed was planted, and that was the beginning of me getting on personal development, which started to convince me, oh, shoot, maybe entrepreneurship, because nobody's going to hire me. You know, I got 2 felonies, you know, anyways. And entrepreneurship became the natural thing for me, and that's how that whole thing started. Was from you know, what I thought at the time was the biggest curse in my life turned out to be the biggest blessing. You know, looking back now. So yeah, that's what pushed me. It was I didn't want to be a bum anymore. I was tired of being this loser, drug addict, criminal reject that I was. I had enough of myself, and I started to dig into what, you know, that seed that was planted when I was 17.
Yeah. And I'm interested to know, like, what was that first breakthrough that you had, like, in entrepreneurship, and you kind of put together like the street smarts and then some of the business advice, you know, from like your mentor?
Yeah. You know, it was a network marketing company, you know, because an MLM, because nobody would hire me. They had no interest. And someone introduced me to this concept, and I thought the concept was brilliant. I didn't know that people had hangups about it, or people, whatever, you know, people have hangups about everything. But for me, it was like they didn't care what my background was. Nobody cared. They're like, look, if you do this, we're going to pay you. You do this, we're going to pay you. What sucks is it took me 7 years to crack $100,000. So to make 6 figures, it took me 7 years. But I was just too dumb to quit. There was just no way I could quit, because somebody finally gave me an opportunity. And here's what's crazy. Jim Rohn, if you remember, you know who Jim Rohn is.
Jim Rohn.
Tony Robbins' mentor. Jim Rohn was one of my support people. He was in the upline. He was earning overrides from stuff I did. So I have this brilliant man. I didn't realize, you know, how fortunate later on, of course, I really caught on. But I was being mentored by one of the greatest, you know, philosophers on the planet, who started in network marketing, and he started teaching me these principles and philosophies and leadership and all this stuff. And so what was happening, even though I wasn't making a lot of money, my first year, man, I made like $4,000 for the full year, full-time entrepreneur. You know, everyone's still laughing at me. I'm a joke. You know, are you rich yet? I'm like, are you rich? You still in the damn cubicle? At least I'm doing something. But it was Jim Rohn that convinced me to stay in the game, keep working on your craft, get better on the inside, and then sooner or later it'll start to show on the outside. And that was it, man. So it went 4,000, like 16,000, which is not a big deal the second year. But in terms of, I caught on in terms of percentage of growth. Shit, if I got to raise that big, or if we got that big of a percentage of raise, that's a big deal year over year. And it was my 7th year. I finally cracked $116,000. Then the next year it went to 224,000. Then it was $1 million, then 2 million. Then we were rolling in $250,000 a month. You know, whether I rolled out of bed, you know, or stayed in bed, rolled over in bed. it just got crazy, man. The money just kept coming in. And because of network marketing and that cash flow machine, it allowed me to go and do all this other stuff. I've had so many failures, man. Like, you guys, if you ever do a show on failures, you're going to want me there as the poster child. But I had all this cash coming in, so I could mess everything up. And then next month, I replenished my cash supply. So I just made tons of mistakes. Then I had a couple breakthroughs, man. And it was Mark Twain that said one time, you only need a couple breakthroughs. He said he only had like a couple of breakthroughs, but it kept him in pipe tobacco his whole life. And I think what he was saying is you only need a couple of breakthroughs to be set forever. And that's kind of what happened, man. I had a couple big breakthroughs, but I love it, man. I love the entrepreneur spirit. I love to be in the trenches. I love to be creating and building and developing people and watching people, you know, like my wife. What you guys did with my wife is a beautiful thing. Like, it's funny I say what you guys did with my wife. Now I just had to, you know, anyhow. What do you guys do with my wife, man? But just to watch my wife, you know, breaking through, coming out of her shell, coming out of her comfort zone. And that was me, man. I was such a loser, reject. You guys would have never had me on your show back then. But anyway, so that's it, man. That's kind of what happened. And so, you know, now we're in all kinds of stuff, and, you know, some of it's doing well, some of it's not, but we just keep moving.
Yeah. See, that's awesome though, man. Like that climb that you did from like, you know, like 6 figures to like, you know, 7 figures and beyond. So I want to know, like, personally, like, what were some of like those like key lessons or like habits or skills that like were the difference from like, you know, the first like 100K, then like $250,000, then like $500,000, then like obviously over $1 million.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that, well, you know, I have a bunch of tattoos, and one of them is right here, and it's on the hand that I write with as a reminder. It says ego is the enemy. And, you know, for me, what happened when I finally, because I thought money was everything, because, you know, when you don't have money, you really start to believe that money is everything. At least I did. I thought, okay, if we had money, we wouldn't be in this neighborhood. If we had money, we wouldn't have, if we had money, you know, my sister wouldn't have died from a heroin overdose. You know, all this stuff I was thinking. But, and so what happened, once I got money, my head got really big, man. You couldn't talk to me, you know. You ever hear that song, "Wait Till I Get My Money Right"? Don't talk to me. That was me. But I was fortunate. I had a billionaire mentor by the name of Paul J. Meyer, who also was the reason why he was my mentor is he had an incentive because he earned an override from stuff I did. There's a clue here on mentorship, by the way. Oh yeah. But Paul J. Meyer, he was one of the most humble guys I ever met in my life. Billionaire, humble as you would never know. This dude was a billionaire. And he always talked about, you know, and he told me one time, he said, look, I think I made like $14,000 a month. And I thought I had made it, man. Look, you can't tell me nothing. And he told me, he said, John, you forgot where you came from, and you're going to be on your way back. And he said, your head's too big. Your ego's out of control. He said, fix it, or he basically said, fix it, or I'm not going to deal with you anymore. Now, back then, your mentors could tell you the truth. Now, if your mentor tells you the truth, you blast them on social media and say he's an idiot. You know, it's a different time. But I wanted to be in Paul J. Meyer's life, and he basically said, if I'm going to be a jerk, if I'm going to have this big ego and I'm going to think I'm all that, then he don't have time for me. And that was a big lesson for me. And it was, you know, it was only $14,000 a month or whatever, 16, whatever it was. But, you know, that to me, that was huge money. And now I look at it like that's a day, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just really quick, John, I mean, you said that we're catching on to a trend of mentorship, right? So I could just definitely tell like that's been a huge part of like your success, your growth. And that's what we're always preaching to people, just like for us, like, you know, mentorship accelerates the learning curve. You know, it takes you just to a different mindset, EQ, everything. So I had no idea that you were mentored by Jim Rohn. So what was like maybe one just key takeaway that you got from him that just changed the game?
You know, a lot of it was about responsibility in the end. The main things I got from Jim Rohn is I was a guy who didn't really take responsibility for anything. You know, it was the school's fault I didn't graduate. It was the police fault that I had a criminal record. You know what I mean? It was my dad's fault because whatever. You know, I just blamed everybody. And it was easy to do. But as a victim, I was never going to grow. You know, victims just, if you stay a victim, you can't go anywhere. It was kind of nice sometimes being a victim because everyone's like, oh, yeah, poor you. Of course, you know, you can't. Let me make you some food. Let me hook you up with my friend's, you know, sister who's a bum like you. And you know, so it was Jim Rohn that really held that mirror up along with, you know, my mentor in drug rehab and said, look, man, it's you. You made an appointment to be here 5 years ago. For you, that's bad news. But the good news, you can make a new appointment. And so responsible. I got tattooed. Like I have this long tattoo on this is a Jim Rohn quote, about basically,
awesome.
you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and it's up to you to make those changes.
Yeah. No, man, appreciate you sharing that. And like, I mean, Chris and I, we're no strangers to the victim mentality. I mean, our father passed away when we were like 17, 18 years old, and just literally it crushed us to where we were just going through a dark path just for 6 years, just turned to alcohol, got arrested. So very familiar with that victim mentality.
Man, you guys are such great mentors too. I mean, first off, you're easy to listen to. You come across well. You don't like. I've been on some of the shows, and I know you guys from events, and I've been watching you since we met back then. But you guys don't come across like you're above somebody,
right?
And I see I do get on a lot of podcasts where sometimes I feel like even they're talking down to me. I'm like, man, I can only imagine this. Maybe audiences like that. I don't know. But you guys are relatable. And again, I think that's why my wife was able to do your show, and she would never do it. She's a powerhouse, but you guys, it was comfortable and it made sense. And that's what we need, man. We need people we can relate to. Like you just said, look, your dad died and you went through an alcohol thing. To be transparent, all that stuff is part of being a good mentor, because here's the thing. We all suck. We're all weirdos. We all go through a bunch of crap. And when I see these people are on these pedestals and they walk around like they're gods, it's like, come on, man. I live in a different world than you do, man. I just can't relate. So anyways, I just love it. And mentorship is so important.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thanks so much for the kind words. I genuinely mean that. And then just, like you said, just that word pedestal, like one of our mentors told us, don't ever hold yourself on a pedestal. And I'm like, boom, because I was like, man, I'm no better than anybody. It's like I started from the ground up. Like every master was once a disaster. It's just about sets and reps and turning your messes into your messages. It truly is.
I love that. Sets and reps, man. I love that. Hey, I'm going to steal that. I'll give you credit the first time I use it, but after that, it's mine 1,000%.
Sounds good. I want to go back to this really quick, John. I know you've been in network marketing a lot, and I know that like network marketing gets like a bad rap, right? For some reason. And my fiance, she's in network marketing, and I've seen some of the business skills and advice that they give, man. They hustle. They give the real shit, not some like, phony stuff that people like preach on social media. So number one, like, why do you think that network marketing gets a bad rap? And then number two, it's like, what kind of skills have you learned that other people that are listening to this that like don't have that open mind that they can learn from network marketing?
Well, I think the biggest reason network marketing gets a bad rap is because there's massive amounts of money to be made. So whenever there's big amounts of money to be made, it'll attract the wrong element. You're just like, look, real estate, the car, I don't care where it is, where there's big money to be made, there's going to be the bad element. The health and wellness field, there's a percentage that, are just shit people.
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing happens in network marketing. One of my other mentors, when I met him, he was making $50 million a year in network marketing. Nobody knows. I mean, he was partying on his yacht in Miami, and people had no idea where his money was coming from, but it was coming from network marketing. And then you meet guys like Jim Rohn, who people don't even realize they're all hung up on his message, don't even know that he came from network marketing, yet they'll talk crazy about network marketing. You know what I'm saying? Tony Robbins, Les Brown. I just was at the gym with Robert Kiyosaki, from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Man, he's made fortunes because of network marketing. And people don't realize this. It's just a distribution method. That's all it is. And we all know the most effective way is through word of mouth. If you guys say it, I'm more likely because I trust what you say. So that's all network marketing ever did. And they created a compensation plan that compensated people. Instead of like what normally we do, we buy from a big business, we don't get paid, and they just keep rolling. Yeah. But what you have to learn, look, my number one training technique in network marketing was called the truth. Now that's a little risque in some businesses. I don't want to talk about that. But I said, for us, it was always about the truth. And the thing to build a massive network marketing business, you got to understand scaling. You have to scale. There's no way. One of the last companies I built in network marketing, we had 327,000 affiliates in 8 countries. I didn't even speak the language. We were doing $100 million in South Korea alone. I don't speak the language. Yeah. So how do you do that? Well, you got to put systems in place. Like McDonald's. Burger Boy knows. Cheeseburger goes in the yellow wrapper because the filet of fish is in the turquoises. You know what I'm saying? The architect knows. The French fry fryer is on the left because the McFlurry machine goes on the right. And you duplicate that over and over and over. All we did with people. So I have no fancy footwork, man. I have like 3 steps for how I prospect. I got 3 steps for how I onboard you. I got 3, everything is so dumbed down that I could teach my 11-year-old to do it. And then she could teach someone else and teach someone else. And eventually the beauty of it for me was it gave me freedom. If you got a big ego, And it's always about you. You're never going to do really well in network marketing. Then you'll blame network marketing because there's no way you, the big shot, would fail in network marketing. No, you failed because you wouldn't let go of yourself. For me, it always became about paying it forward. Teach to teach to teach. And we built organizations of, well, eventually hundreds of thousands of people that paid us millions and millions of dollars, where I could walk away from that business and that business would still spit off money because we set things in motion purposely. But that's why even like great salespeople will come in network marketing and not do well. And I'm like, well, it's because you're a great salesperson. I got school teachers, IT professionals, professional athletes, people that are not salespeople. And we have a system. Now we got, funnels and all these high-tech tools. I'm like, I just press a button on my phone. It sends the video. Then depending on the response I got another button right inside the app that sends the response via text message or DM for me. It's all done. So I could duplicate that over and over. And if I go into another country, I don't speak the language, we just change the damn language. And if you get that thing going, you can make millions and millions of dollars. And but people come in and they see like goofballs like me. They say, well, John, the dropout loser, if he can do it, you know who I am. I got these degrees and I'm all the big shot. And they fall on their face and they wonder why. So, look, all of my skills, maybe not all of them, but 99% of my skills, I learned in network marketing because I had a mentor that said the skills you have to learn in network marketing are the same skills a Fortune 500 CEO has under his belt.
Yep.
But you're going to get yours over time. Maybe you're not going to go to Harvard to get it like he did or she did, but you're going to learn yours over time. And you're going to learn it the hard way by being in the trenches and taking the hits. But people don't like to take the hits, man. They don't like rejection and all that.
No, exactly. And that's what I was going to say, man. That's why I asked this question, because it's real and it's authentic. And that's what people like. They want to hear the opposite, that it's a bad business and it's shady and all this stuff. But no, man, it's like really good, like, entrepreneur skills that you have. And I like what you said too, like too many people make it about themselves. And as soon as they like reframe their mindset and make it about the other person they're serving, and, stop worrying about like, reaching out to people and like, posting something or selling something. It's not about you. It's about them that you're serving,
That's it, man. We like now I have some frustration with, some of the big leaders that they haven't built anything in 10 years and they're still teaching the same old tire techniques from like 2007. Things have changed. You have to move with the cheese, man. You got to move with the momentum. So that's why, like, funnels to all these high tech tools. That's why I came back, man. I was partying like a rock star for 3 years. Retired. I sold one of the companies, and I saw like. Listen, back in the day, I was handing out VHS tapes to people. Even further back, we had something called fax on demand, where like you'd have to get to a fax machine, you'd press a couple buttons, it would send over information about the company. I mean, it was slow and it was dragged out, and we still made big money doing it. Now, speed to everything. Streaming videos, and everyone's got a 4-second attention span. So it's like I got to get them. I get them quick. Look, they're either in or out. I don't waste time like I did. I have people waste my time for years back then. Now it's like, okay, you in, you're out, let's keep moving. So you can build so much faster. And if you do it right with, video, we all know video is one of the best ways to get the point across. Mm-hmm. So you got Zoom today, man. I'm building organizations around the world for free, with Zoom meetings now. I mean, exactly. It's just, there's no excuse. Like, I don't care who you are. There is no excuse for you not to, you don't have to get rich. But you could support your family today just with the technology we've got.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's stay on this topic about kind of like the present, tense with everything. And man, 2020, who would have thought that this crazy fucked up year would have like happened? So I'm very curious, like those that I do interview, I'm just very curious as to like what have been like some of these big breakthroughs and learning lessons, like both like personally and just business wise from this year.
Man, for me, it was a blessing. Because my wife and I, every weekend or every week we were traveling somewhere. And you don't realize the toll that takes on your body mentally and all that stuff. Because it was just part of our life. It was what we did. So for us to sit our butts down, to be forced to, it gave us a chance to we started to come up with, a new daily method of operations. I'm very big on systematic approach to things, so it really got us, like we have our gratitude thing we do in the morning and at night. It got us in a different connection zone, and it elevated us mentally. So for me, it was a completely different shift in how I do things. Now I had a couple of, we were investors in a private jet company called SetJet. That thing, I was very nervous because it just launched in January and everything stopped. And I was like, man, we're bleeding cash out of there. But I had other companies that were booming, but now all of a sudden, everyone wants to fly private. So now that's exploding. It's going crazy right now. But my network marketing businesses, where I got checks coming from, we watched those exploding because why? People were at home. They had uncertainty. When you're uncertain about something, and I say, look, I got to wait for you to make money from home. Maybe you're not going to make $1 million this year, but I could help you make an extra $1,000 this week. I don't know. I think the government sent out like $1,200 checks. I can show you how to do that every week, from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
So that's where the breakthroughs happen for me. When having people locked in their houses, we had access to them now. They were actually picking up the phones. They were connecting to stuff. They weren't running around like chickens with head. And now everybody knows job security is not a thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't care who you are. You found out, man, you may not have a job. And what we showed, what happened is network marketing went from being like this kind of risque, uncertain thing, or only the lowest of the low do it because they can't get jobs, to now you're seeing big hitters that were using it to supplement income or bring in additional cash flow or create security in their house. So yeah, it was a lot of things. There's just so much that happened because of that. I'm so sick of the pandemic, to be honest, right now.
Mm-hmm.
But for that little bit that I was on lockdown, it got me in tune with myself and who I am and what I want to be. And it also cemented the fact that what we've been doing, for the last, for me, 27 years, it meant something. There's an impact. Now people are catching on. And so that's why we're launching a new company. We're putting our money and our time and everything where our mouth is. And, I'll be the CEO. My wife will head up a part of the company. And we're going to do, what we believe in, health and wellness. Like I always say, the reason why I stay in health and wellness, because if I was in the alcohol business, I'd be drunk every night. If I'm in the weed business, I'm smoking the hell out of some weed. The health and wellness business is nice because, I can overconsume health and wellness, and what happens? I'm healthier and weller.
100%. There's always going to be a demand for health and wellness.
I agree, man. 100%. You guys are in the right spot for sure.
Thanks, man. So I want to shift gears here, John. I want to go a little bit deep here. So let's just say hypothetically you had 5 years to live. What would you stop doing?
Oh man, I would stop procrastinating, which I still do. I would stop self-sabotaging myself, which I still do. I can get in my head like anybody else and get down on myself. I just, to be straight up, man, even with, enough money to live the rest of my life on, and that type of freedom that I have, man, I'm still prone to bad behavior. I'm still prone to depression. And look, and it's amazing you say that because I just turned 50 recently. And it really has me understanding. Like 50 was I told my wife, do not throw a party for me. I don't want to see anybody. I'm going to lock myself in the bedroom. 50 just seems so damn old. And I was depressed. I was really depressed about it. But, then she has to remind me, look what you look at, man. People would love, I got the sexiest wife on the damn planet. I mean, I have this incredible life and wife, and I get down on myself, man, still. And I think it's still me pushing out programming from back in the day when I was told I was a loser and I was, you can't do this, you'll never be that. That's still stuck in here as much as personal development and all the things that have happened. So if I knew I had 5 years to live, which makes me think when I get off of this, I'm going to write down my plan for the next 5 years, that no more of this downtime being depressed and self-sabotaging myself, man. So, I'm going to come off of here a better man because of that question alone. We all should be thinking like this, though.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's what I tell people, John. I truly believe we all have a death sentence, and it's like I saw it firsthand with my father. He was 50, and I know he had way more life in him. He wanted to do stuff. He was a San Quentin prison guard, so he wanted to get out of there and do like real estate and all this stuff, investments. And man, it's just like we don't have all the time in the world to bullshit and mess around and twiddle our thumbs.
No, it's become more and more clear to me now because I feel like, look, no matter how you look at it, I'm in my second half of my life.
Yeah.
And the first half, when I look, man, the first half flew by. And now we haven't saw each other in 2 years, but it doesn't seem like that long.
Right.
This thing is flying, man. It is screaming fast.
Scary,
if you live to be 100, it's way too short.
Yeah. It's kind of scary, man. But you know what? You look amazing for 50. I truly mean that, man. Honestly.
Well, you're now my new best friend, brother.
As long as you're getting those brows done, man, you'll keep it fresh.
I know, man. My wife's got me doing getting my eyelashes tinted and curled. And
Hell yeah. So we're big on creating impact, John. So like, how would you sum it up that you've just impacted people's lives? Like everything that you've done.
Well, look, for me, I have to. I don't have a choice because it comes from my mentors, Paul J. Meyer. It comes from my mentors, Jim Rohn. These guys all they were about was impact. You know, even like the investments I make, we've got a pharmaceutical company that's going to list on the Canadian Stock Exchange probably February. We're waiting on the government approvals there, but this is about curbing the opioid habit. We're creating pharmaceutical drugs to get rid of the opioids that are killing people like crazy and addicted. So I invested there because I see the impact. You know, I see what happened to my brother because it started with opioids and it led to heroin. I watched my sister die. She went straight to heroin. But, impact, me paying it forward. When my mentor said with great wealth comes great responsibility, he explained what that meant. He said, look, the reason why Michael Jordan would keep playing basketball, even though he did everything you'd expect to do and he kept playing, it's what happens inside of you. Like for me, I got to stay in the game because I've told people that they can have what I have. Now, if I leave the game, well, I had a mentor that said, find someone that has what you want. Mm-hmm. Find someone that has what you want, find out what they did to get that thing, and then do what they did until you get it. Not until it gets tough, not until, your best friend's cousin sister tells you it's a scam or whatever. You do it until you got it. And for me, I've told so many people on podcasts like this and events that you can really get this, that you can have this. And now I feel like it's in the second half of my life, it's the legacy stage. It's like I've got to have impact. I've got to be able to teach this thing. So I always talk about my kids, I want my children's children to talk about who I was, not because of the money, but because of the information, because the things that we're leaving that will impact their lives long after I'm gone. So impact, man, for me, that's everything right now. Forget the money. And I like the money. I like the cars. I like the stuff, but I think it's selfish in a way. I want, my mentor, Paul J. Meyer, when there's a point where he was giving away 100% of every dollar, and he said he was working harder than ever. This guy, I'm telling you, he was in his 80s, climbing mountains, scuba diving. And he said for him, giving everything away was a selfish act. And I didn't get it at first. Now I get it. Because he said he got so much satisfaction of working, and it's a billionaire. He was still working every day like he was 20, just to give it all away, to keep giving it away, give it away.
Generosity.
Man, I get it now. And he said it was selfish. I'm like, well, how is that selfish? But I get it because it's the feeling you get from knowing that someone else is elevated, that there's an impact, that something's going to carry on because of you.
Exactly. Man, I got to give you a fist pump for the legacy thing. That's one of my values, just hands down. So mic drop on that one.
I appreciate you, brother. Now what I got to do, I got to tattoo everything on my body because, after 50, you start to forget stuff. So I'll go back. If I run out of stuff to say, I'll just like, oh, well, a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children.
Yeah, I'm digging your ink though, man. I like
you got some badass tattoos, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I want to ask John, like your lifestyle. Like I'm interested in people's just habits, like their daily routines, their systems, to really like play at the high level that you are. So kind of like walk us through like a day in the life of John Malott, like morning, midday, like how do you shut it down, all that stuff.
Yeah, like I hear a lot of things. People talk about. Young entrepreneurs are always like, you'll sleep when you're dead and all this. I believe in getting a good night's sleep. I know how I feel if I don't. I know my mind isn't working quite as well. But my wife and I, we have our morning ritual, which is basically we talk about what we're grateful for. We usually give 3 things that we're grateful for ourselves. Then I give 3 things I'm grateful for about her. She does the exact same thing. We also do a little affirmation exercise where we affirm some things, about, whatever, about our health. Health is always high on that list for both of us. Our family stuff, and of course, business is always in there as well. And so that's something we do in the morning, and we do that at night. That's how we start our day. In the morning, also, I now am working on getting up at 7:30 a.m., which normally I sleep until I'm done sleeping. I don't believe in alarm clocks. I don't believe in that stuff. So I get up and my body says it's time to get up. But now I'm getting up at 7:30 because I go to the gym and I've got this. I go with one of my brothers, David, and I discovered the cold plunge. So at the end of my workouts, I do the steam room, cold plunge, steam room, cold. And it's amazing, man. I'm firing like I can't explain it. I hated it. The first time I got in there, I'm hyperventilating. Like, this sucks. I'll never do. I left Wisconsin to get out of the cold. I'm in Arizona. Why the hell am I going into the cold again? Now I get it. And so that's how I start my day. So I'm fired, ready to go. And then it's just, you know, like I've got, of course, Zooms. I'm doing a lot more interviews, podcasts, stuff like that. And then my wife and I usually, you know, come back around dinner, kind of put our phones down, have dinner, have some, you know, good discussion about what's happening. We call it plan, do, review. When we get towards the evening, you know, we review the day. And on Fridays, we always review the week. And then we plan out, you know, the next week, the next day, and then we do, which is execute. And we come back and we hold each other accountable to the things we said we would do. So that's kind of it. And I didn't watch TV for years. I took all the TVs out of the house. Nice. I was extreme on some of this stuff. I don't recommend that because my kids hated me. You know, you got in the car, all you heard was personal development, like, we hate Jim Rohn, we hate Les Brown, we hate, you know. I actually turned my kids off in a bad way to stuff that I wish that they had. But I ruined them because I was such a fanatic on it. But so now what we do is we don't turn on the TV. Like at night, I like to catch a little television, you know, which I never did before. So it's my new thing. Now, this probably isn't the pure entrepreneurs are going to hate me for this.
It's like a wind down.
Yeah, but look, we don't do it until we've read it. We have to have read at least 15 minutes of a good. We have our little, you know, thing, but at least 15 minutes of a good book, you know, that we're on. So none of this happens. You know, I might smoke a little weed from time to time, which you know. So, but I'm building the life and I'm living the life that I wanted to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always wanted to sleep till I was done sleeping because it didn't seem like I had that option when I was out there hustling all the time. Someone always told me where I had to be. But anyhow, so it's just simple stuff. Nothing crazy. And I tell people, look, if you're like me, I'm a night person more than a morning person. Don't get stressed out when some people wake up in the morning, man, and they're so fired up. I hate you in the morning. I don't like you. I don't want to talk to you. But at night, catch me 2:00 in the morning, I'm still rolling, man. I'm ready to go. So we're not all wired exactly the same. And when we try to be what someone else is, I would say just be the best you can be. If you know 11 a.m. is your time, then make sure that's the time you go and smash it. And
absolutely.
Instead of stressing about, look, I'm missing stuff, and then people are getting upset with themselves. They're creating more stress on themselves, and probably going to go to the grave earlier because they're trying to be Grant Cardone or
right.
You know what I mean? Right. Anyways.
Yeah.
Sorry for the long answers, man. I get excited about this stuff.
No, I love that, man. Especially what you said. Just like, don't try to pretty much mimic everything everybody does. If you're not a morning person, just know your magic hours and stuff like that. And I'm definitely gonna have to steal you and your wife's ritual, John. That's awesome, man. What you guys do, plan, review, and do. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we call it plan, do, review.
Plan, do, review. Love that.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, we plan it out. We go do it, and then we review the results, and we just keep doing it over and over. And that could be every day. For sure, every Friday we come together. Friday's our day. I tend to shut down a little bit. Like Fridays, I don't do podcasts. I don't do a lot of. I try to keep with the family, and then Sundays are funny because Sundays become our Sunday fun days, where we'll hit church, and then we go party like we never went to church. And then and then sometimes Sunday night we shut it down and start all over again.
Yeah, I love that, man. And it's really quick too. Just let's say, just for a listener that has a family and you have 4 kids, you have a wife. I mean, you're successful, you're busy. How do you what's the biggest tip for someone that would let's say, oh, I don't have enough time, like this and that, making all these excuses?
I just stopped stressing about stuff. I think we're our worst enemies.
For sure.
And then we do believe we don't have enough time. Well, you really do. You do have the time. You just got to figure out where it's being. And that's what I did. What I did is I did an exercise where I wrote down everything I was doing. I carried this little notepad with me. Everything I did, when I got in the car, everything. And I started finding all these little areas I was wasting time in because I wanted to be more efficient. I'm not the most organized person. So I realized I was wasting time just in my lack of organization. So I had someone come in and help me get stuff organized. But I started finding these little areas. So if you actually can be honest with yourself, you'll start to figure out, man, look, if Bill Gates can be a billionaire with his time and Zuckerpunk can become a billionaire and Bezos can become a billionaire, what I mean? We could at least make $1 million, but a lot of it just is using our time a little bit better. And so that's what I started doing. Yeah, people pull on you, man. You got to be, and the other thing, you got to learn to say no.
Oh yeah. Good one.
No is a tough one for me. That's why I'm not allowed to handle my schedule. Like you guys had to schedule this through now.
Yeah.
Do people know I would have been scheduled to do your podcast and 4 others, and I would be, supposed to be somewhere else at the same time. I just say yes to everybody, and then everyone's pissed off at me. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I'm like you, man. Chris is better at saying no. He's the twin that's just more strict, just like go with stuff. So one of us has
to. You got to have it, man.
Oh,
like you need to, in a car, you need the accelerator, you need the brakes.
Yeah.
For me, I was just the accelerator, man. I was heading for the brick wall fast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, John, man, this has been great. All this wisdom, all this whole conversation. So before I ask the last question and get you out of here, I just want to take a moment just to commend you. Just for everything you've done, man. Just for being authentic today. Just again, I'm very, very big on I value people's time. So thank you so much for dedicating an hour to Chris and I, the listeners. I know they're going to get a lot from this, and just for everything that you're doing, man. Just like you're everything that you've overcome, and you're still going to do going forward. So nothing but just health, wealth, love, and happiness towards your way in 2021, man.
Absolutely,
man. Back at you guys. Look, I love these platforms. I wish I would have had this when I was young. We actually had to go find a seminar, pay big money. You know what I mean? Now there's so much information you can get for there. Again, there's just no excuse anymore because guys like you that are putting your time on the line on a regular basis to get the information. Like I tried to run a podcast for a while, but I'm like, it's a lot of damn work, man.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
So, hey, I commend you for being consistent and committed because you guys, you already know the stuff, but you're paying it forward. You're putting it out there for free for people to get, man. It's a beautiful thing, brother. So I always support anything I can do anytime. I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Thank you. So what does it mean for John Malott to live a dynamic lifestyle?
It means authentic. It means, it's funny. I always joke around that we teach people to be authentic now. For me, I just want to be real, man. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. It's about that simple. I clearly I haven't been good at taking orders from people and listening to authority because they lock me up. But I just want to be real. I want to be a great example for my kids. I want my kids to know, look, it's okay to party. It's okay to do some of these things, but there's a price for everything. You know what I mean? If I'm going to take a Sunday and party too much, I might pay the price on Monday.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So we just have to realize that. So I love my life, man. I love the life, and I love my wife and my kids. And when it's done, I want to know I left it all on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, look, I didn't play small, didn't play games, went out and did it. And so that's what I try to do every single day. Be a great example.
Amen to that.
Man, that's awesome. All right, John. So where can the listeners, follow everything that you're doing? Is there anything we can support you on right now that you have going on?
Yeah, I don't really promote a lot of our stuff. People tend to find us organically or, it fits. But Instagram is where I personally handle my Instagram account. So at john.malott, MALOTT. That's my Instagram. We've got this 21-day challenge thing. It's a simple, what we're talking about is transforming minds, bodies, and bank accounts. And they can get on there for free if they'd like. And you guys are doing a lot of, similar stuff, I believe. And then, we're about to launch our new company. We got a cool packaging technology that we're going to introduce to the world that I think people are going to love. We expect to see this thing, hit some global stride. But if someone's looking to make some extra money, we've got this ambassador program that's going to be so sick. And we're going to teach them. We're going to teach them how to build a massive, massive business that duplicates and gives them freedom, not just money. So.
Yeah, man, that's exciting stuff. We'll have that all linked up in the show notes. So guys, go follow John Malott, all the cool stuff he's doing. And John, once again, man, thank you so much for your time, experience, wisdom. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, guys, until next time. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video and another episode on pro tips on living a dynamic lifestyle. We truly appreciate it. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of it. If you're interested in getting more value like this from these pro tips, make sure to subscribe above. We're going to be dropping these daily. Also, if you are a fitness professional and you're looking to create more income, impact, influence, and independence, we just dropped our new book, Rise of the Fit Pros, so you guys can do all of that. And you can also start building your hybrid training model of in-person and online training. So make sure to click the link or the book right here to grab your guys' copy, and we'll send it over to you. Other than that, we're out. Talk to you soon.